The Green Bay Packers lost to the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, not because of talent, but because of coaching, culture, and leadership.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Let's waste no time. This was an embarrassment by the Green Bay Packers. They were not ready to play. They played sloppy yet again. And I said coming into this game, I just wanted you to be a serious team, Green Bay. Just to take this Panthers team seriously. And they didn't. They did not play like a serious team. The coaching played scared. Conservative. Matt LaFleur was wildly conservative in this game. And it cost them. It cost them this game. They were not ready for anything. They look. Did they practice all week? I don't know. The Panthers could only do one thing, and they got gashed consistently by Rico Dowdle. The one thing the Panthers could do, and you let them beat you with it. And then when they did throw the ball, it felt like Bryce Young. Now, the final numbers are not going to be anything special, of course. 11 of 20 for 102 yards with a pick, and you lost that game. Because every third down, it seemed like he needed to convert. There was something, that last drive. Pressure, on the fourth down where Edgerrin Cooper gets called for the penalty that they luckily rescinded in what I thought was a pretty poorly officiated game. That's not why the Packers lost. Rashawn Gary had a shot at Bryce Young in the backfield, couldn't make it work. I didn't understand the defensive game plan. I didn't understand the offensive game plan for the Packers, and they played like they didn't understand any of it. This is a game where you need your coaching staff to make sure you are maximizing every opportunity, and they didn't do that. They did not do that. Bad game management, bad play calling, like the end of the first half was an abomination for Matt LaFleur. An abomination. And Jordan Love bailed him out, and it was just like, okay, well then just let Jordan Love go do the thing. And he still didn't do that. I mean, the 3rd and 3 play call to get into 4th and 8, and then the 4th and 8, you've got nothing. To make a single read throw there where you're going to ask Malik Heath and Savion Williams to get a block and let the Panthers rally and tackle when everything underneath has been open all day. Just let Jordan Love read it out and make the right read. Every underneath throw, he was on the money all day, with the exception of the 4th down, and then the one over-aggressive shot play. I thought Jordan Love played great in this game. It didn't matter because no one else came to play. This team still runs the ball way too much for a team that is not very good at running the ball. And even when they found some effectiveness, Josh Jacobs did average over 5 yards a carry in this game. But 25 carries, you're averaging with 4.2 yards per carry. You just needed, in more of these situations, to play aggressively. I don't know where that team is that's trying to hit big plays every time out. I don't know where that team is. I don't know where that Jordan Love is. I don't know where that Matt LaFleur is. And to not be ready this week when you've seen the Panthers, they beat the Cowboys. A banged up Panthers beat the Cowboys. They beat the crap out of the Falcons, who earlier this year beat the Bills. And so we know what they're capable of doing at their best. We know that they are capable of beating you on the ground. 33 carries for 163. That's 5 yards per carry. And you had no answers all day. Your leadership has to be better than this. Guys, there was no verve on defense, no verve on offense, and part of that is on Matt LaFleur. And Greg Olsen rightly points out Matt LaFleur is one of the best play callers in the NFL. I believe that to be true. That's why it's so frustrating when he gets these things wrong, when he is so conservative. We know, Matt, what you're capable of. We know what the best version of this offense looks like with you calling the plays. And so it's frustrating when you revert, when you turtle in your shell and play not to lose, to play not to give Bryce Young the ball back at the end of the first half. I mean, that was embarrassing. I half joked that the penalties on that last drive were a ball don't lie moment because he kept running the ball. Like, what are you doing? It's the 2-minute offense. Go score. Don't worry about Bryce Young. Go score. It just none of it was Super Bowl quality. And that's the problem right now is, like, I still believe, by the way, in a week, I think the Packers are going to play really well against Philly, assuming, the injuries are not as bad as they seem right now. If you can get Dontavian Wicks out there or Matthew Golden can get back out there, I still think this team is going to be really good and is going to be fine in the playoffs. It's these moments that make them so frustrating. You want to go out and just beat somebody up. Where is that game against the bad team where it looks like the really good team is playing the bad team? Where is that game this season? We haven't really seen it. And this team, the culture of this team, is what has me worried right now. Because it doesn't feel like a Super Bowl culture right now. And that's coaching, that's player leadership, that's everything. They do not feel like a Super Bowl team right now. They look like one in the second half. This is why this is so damn frustrating. Because when they play the way that they are capable of playing, we saw it in the second half last week. We saw it the first 2 weeks of the season, and those weren't even A+ games. We saw what this team is capable of doing when they even put a modicum of focus and effort into the game. And to not see it consistently is a result of bad culture, of bad leadership, or at least sub-Super Bowl standard. I don't want to say bad because, this isn't, I don't think guys are, fighting in the locker room and tuning out their coaches. I don't think that's what's happening. But it's not to the level that it needs to be to compete with the best teams in the NFL right now on a week in, week out basis. I just don't like the Packers are a little lucky that Minnesota beat Detroit. That Detroit didn't show up at home, but that's against a decent team. This is the Carolina Panthers. They are not a decent team. Yes, they had some wins, and it's going to look like they're 5-4 now. But against the good teams on their schedule, they lost by double digits to all of them. This is the first time they've even been competitive with a semi-decent team. And it's the Packers. It's more special teams mistakes. We'll get to that. It's more conservatism from your coaches that are supposed to be your standard bearers. It's a lack of intensity from your defense. Micah Parsons was nowhere to be found. And yes, there was a lot of attention being given to Micah Parsons. But so that means Devontae Wyatt and Rashawn Gary and the other guys on the defense, you have to step up. If you're getting run through on the ground, that's on your linebackers. Where are your linebackers? Where was Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper in this game? Where was the aggressiveness from Jeff Hafley to say, we're going to create here. We're going to play press man coverage and dare these receivers to get open. Dare them to get open. It's still a little off zone. And I get it. That doesn't necessarily mean passive, but like if Bryce Young wasn't getting the ball out quick, the ball was not getting out, or he's running around and making some sort of second reaction play, but all the more reason to play press and make Bryce feel that pressure of, I got to get the ball out. Because if I'm holding, I know that the rush is going to get home. This was a passive, conservative plan from the Packers, and that just can't happen. Now, again, I think the Packers will go against Philly and have a good game plan and come out with some juice and some verve and some life. And in some ways, you could spin this and say it's going to have them even more focused for Philly this year. that is certainly the most optimistic and diplomatic way of looking at this. The bottom line here is this is just not good enough. For a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, that looks like a Super Bowl team when they play their best, this is just not good enough. And it starts to me with the coaches. And then you need your players, your player-led locker room. That's culture, that's leadership. That's coaches and players, but it's culture and leadership right now that this team needs. Yes, they're the youngest team in the league, but this team has been through it. This team has veterans on it. Jordan Love is a veteran now. Josh Jacobs is a veteran. Xavier McKinney is a veteran. Quay Walker is a veteran. Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons. These are your veteran players. Elton Jenkins, Zach Tom, Christian Watson. I know they lost Tucker Kraft. We'll talk about the injuries, but you need more from your culture. Games like this are won with culture because you have to come out focused and ready to go. And you have to say, attack, attack, attack. Now, the culture is set ultimately by Matt LaFleur. And he has been way too conservative all season. They have to open this offense up. They have to play to score touchdowns on every drive and be okay going 3 and out. It's okay to go 3 and out if it is in service of trying to get the ball down the field. It felt like every time the Packers got in 3rd and 8 in this game that they were able to convert because they were effective doing that. The Packers were 7 of 13 on 3rd down. Look, you look at the underlying numbers here. The Packers were 7 of 13 on 3rd down, 369 yards, 6 yards per play, 7 yards per pass, 4 yards per rush, and ultimately actually outpossess the Panthers, and you lose because you turn the ball over twice. Turn the ball over twice, once in the red zone, and you missed a field goal. It just wasn't sharp. It was not to the standard. This is something that Coach Jags on our squad show talks about all the time. This was not to the Packers' standard. And it's going to get harder because now they're dealing with injuries. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Packers.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next day delivery, and it's a game changer. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. It was a slew of injuries throughout this game. The big one, the first one, Tucker Kraft. And Tucker Kraft is the heartbeat of this team. He has become one of the leaders. And I think losing him is more about what you lose mentality-wise. And we don't know the situation with the injury right now. It did not look good. I will say that. But he sets the tone. And when they need that play, when they need to get shaken out of the doldrums, he's the guy they go to. And when you don't have that, that's when I think Matt LaFleur retreats into, I've got to call the perfect play. I've got to scheme something. Let's call a screen, something like that, something sure, a quote unquote sure thing. And too often that the Packers have just not executed well enough for that to be a useful thing. Now, for the Packers, I think they're going to be able to get useful things out of Luke Musgrave. We saw at the end, really nice outbreaking route. He bends it inside, cuts back outside, makes the play, high points the ball. Remember, Luke Musgrave was the starter when these two were both rookies and was the guy everyone was excited about. Every media person came, hey, look at that guy. He is big and fast. Tom Pelissero called him the biggest fast person he's ever seen, or the fastest big person he's ever seen. I can't remember exactly which one, but they were so excited. He was a huge part of their offense early in the season. I think he can give them something in the passing game. It's what you miss not having him in the run game. Now, the Packers are playing a lot of 2 tight end sets anyway. They were not able to attack effectively in this game from 2 tight end sets. Part of that is this Packers offensive line, man, like losing Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks has been a pretty big miss from Brian Gutekunst, and I can't even blame Brian Gutekunst because Banks has been hurt. He's hurt again. And you have to bring in Sean Ryan. He's not a left guard. He practices at right guard. He didn't play great, had some really bad penalties in this game. Overall, Jordan Morgan didn't play well in this game. This is just like, it's not what you're expecting here. And so this team can't afford these types of injuries. You lose Matthew Golden in this game, a shoulder injury. And this, by the way, this is a player who at 5'11", 190, the question of size in the NFL at the receiver position is not about really, can they hold up against press coverage? It's not really about that. I don't think. It's more about a couple things, but it's really more about the ability to catch the ball outside your frame. Smaller players just have a smaller catch radius. They're not going to be able to go up and get it the same way. Now, Matthew Golden, an excellent contested catch receiver, though not able to make the play on a perfectly thrown go ball from Jordan Love in this game. The bigger question is, can they hold up? Can they stay healthy? Tank Dell, little. When he's on the field, awesome. But he's been hurt, serious injuries twice now. The question with these smaller receivers is, can they stay on the field? Are you more susceptible to these little injuries? And yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question to raise. There's a reason the Packers in the early rounds and overall prioritize big, fast, strong, because those guys are just less likely to be subject to the vicissitudes of the NFL. So you lose Matthew Golden, you lose Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is your primary guy. So now what do you do? Like I'm out there going, besides throw it to Romeo Doubs, what do you do? You're still just incorporating Christian Watson back into the offense. I think the offense is going to have to become more Christian Watson centric as we move forward here. It'd be really nice to get Dontavian Wicks back this week in particular, because you want to attack the Philadelphia Eagles with their secondary corners. Quinyon Mitchell's really good. Cooper DeJean is really good. When they get an 11, you find where Quinyon Mitchell isn't and you throw it at that guy. Well, that's all well and good, but you need to be able to have receivers who can go beat a backup, who can go beat Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson, whoever is over there. Maybe it's going to be Jair Alexander, though I kind of doubt it. I don't know if he can get up to speed and get healthy. He's been technically, I guess, a healthy scratch, and they acted like, oh, well, no, it's his knee. He's ramping back up. No, he just can't play, and they don't want him to play. He's been really bad. I know it will hurt a lot of Packer fans, but if he plays next week, the Packers are going to target him. Like, believe that. And so for this offense, like it was sort of, it felt like, where do you go late? Now they were able to get it in to the end zone because Jordan Love is Jordan Love. And look how it works when you actually are able to play with a little bit of tempo. Look how it looks. Amazing. Amazing. When you just push the tempo, you let Jordan Love get to the line of scrimmage, call everything out. and you make a play there. Amazing what happens. They look like a different team. And I don't want to hear, oh, these guys, like they're worried about the young players. No, that's over. That's over. I know Savion Williams has to play, and I thought it was gross mismanagement the way that first drive was called, where it's a bunch of Savion Williams and he's out snapping Matthew Golden. Like, what are we doing? And Jordan Love made the right read on the RPO to throw that little smoke screen with just one defender out there. Romeo Doubs doesn't block. Same thing on the third down. That throw, I didn't love the call, but you didn't execute it at all. So the coach looks like a lot smarter in those moments when you actually execute the call. They didn't. So Matt LaFleur is going to have to get into his bag this week and coach much better. The Packers are going to be fired up for the Eagles game. We mentioned, I said, I don't believe in trap games. I don't. I think if you're a good team, you should just be a good team. This felt like a trap game, right? This played out like a trap game. I don't believe good teams can be trapped. The best teams that I've ever seen did not get trapped. They were just good. I think this team is capable of that. It's going to become harder when you don't have your star player on offense, especially Tucker Kraft, and then Matthew Golden, who was someone they really wanted to be a focal point of this offense eventually. Obviously not now, because if they wanted him to be the focal point of the offense now, he would have been. The weird thing about this is I'm much more concerned in a given week about the Packers playing a team like Carolina, a team like the Cleveland Browns, than I am playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was sure the Packers were going to play well against the Steelers. I knew this was one of those games where you have to be serious. Be a serious team and you will win. They were not. Like, I feel fine about that call. Be a serious team and you will blow them out. I still think that's true. They just didn't play like a serious team. And right now, that includes the kicking game. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. I had the Packers on the money line with the over, and guess what? Neither hit. So, that's not great for me, but guess what? I'm going to keep going. And there were probably some live lines that I could have taken advantage of that would have been fun. I'm a little busy working during the game to get into some of those, but here we are. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I have seen enough Brandon McManus. I've seen enough. I'm over it. It's just, it's not going to happen. You cannot convince me that is the move moving forward. I think whether he's healthy or not, I saw him make 58-yarders in warmups. I know he's got the leg. He's missed a couple of these now, the 40-yard varieties where it's just sort of like, that's really more mental than anything else. And at a certain point, you just have to be ruthless with this. You just have to move on. The Packers can save money by moving on, and you have someone who you've seen be reliable for you. Give that guy a chance. If you're the Packers, you say, "Hey, we don't think you're healthy. Let's shut you down. Let's get you healthy. Let's rest you, put you on IR, and then go from there." I've been saying for 2 weeks, I think that's the move. And maybe they win this game if that's what had happened, because don't forget the field goal that they missed. Don't forget the chip shot field goal that McManus missed when the Packers, once again, Jordan Love gets them into field goal range, and they can't close the deal because you have a kicker who can't make a kicker that you expect kickers to make 85% of the time. You're losing to the rest of the league when that's the situation in kicker. These guys, the long kicks are more money than ever. Again, we saw Lucas Havrasek make it 61-yarder, set the league record, and it would have been, or the team record, it would have been good from 65 plus. Now, I would like to see the team just be more aggressive on fourth downs. I thought this game was a good example of that. They actually did what you want them to do. They were 2 of 3 on fourth down in the 4th and 8. Like, that's just a tough play call. No one was open. Love trying to make something happen. No one coming back to the ball. Everyone trying to score touchdowns, but part of that is you've got Savion Williams out there. He's not normally out for those opportunities. Like, you don't have your normal guys out there. You don't have your primo guys out there. If you don't have trust in your kicker, go for it a little bit more. But even when you have a kicker you believe in, go for it a little bit more. I need any excuse for the Packers to be more aggressive with Jordan Love. And guys, by the way, I don't care that the Bears won. I really don't. 47-42 against the Bengals. I don't care about that. I really don't. 5-3, the fakest 5-3 team. That defense is terrible. That defense is terrible. And I think the Packers are going to score 40 on them twice. You can quote me, Bears fans. Come into the chat, come into the game, and let's talk about it. No one thinks the Bears are as good as the Packers. Be serious. Just please be serious. But this kicker situation, it's like, I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to do it. I really don't. Do I think he should? Yes. Do I think he will? Maybe. Maybe. I think there's a maybe in there. I don't think it's better than 50-50, but maybe. Maybe. I still think this team is going to be good enough against anyone. I will not move off of that because I saw what they did to Detroit. I saw what they did to the Commanders when the Commanders were healthy and the season was still there for them. I saw what they did to the Steelers in the second half. We were there. We were all there. We watched it. We watched it happen. We watched them play like that. By the way, the Steelers beat the Colts. The best team in the AFC, the Steelers, the team the Packers just absolutely boat raced in the second half, beat the Colts in Pittsburgh, where the Packers just went in and won. The Pittsburgh Steelers now 5-3, and the Packers beat that team handily in the second half. The best version of the Packers is still as good or better than anyone else. Like, again, the Lions lost at home to the Vikings. Any team, Coach Jags is fond of saying, every team is eligible for an ass kicking every Sunday. And the Packers, they didn't get their asses kicked, but they sure did lose. It can happen any week if you don't show up to play. But not maximizing the players that are supposed to be on the roster, that are supposed to be making these plays, that's on Rich Bisaccia. That's on Matt LaFleur. And I just don't think at this point you can any longer countenance Brandon McManus being your kicker. When Lucas Havrasek in the 2+ games looks more reliable than your kicker all year, who quietly has missed some kicks that you expect to make. Special teams, once again, costing you games this season. If the Packers just make all the kicks, if they just make all the kicks you expect them to make, not even like the weird ones, the hard ones, they're undefeated. Kick blocked that would have won the game against Cleveland. PAT return for 2 in a game he tied. Get blocked. You just expect to make that one. That's a 3-point swing. And then in this game, if Brandon McManus just makes the 1 field goal, at the very least, this game is tied going into overtime. And maybe the Packers go for 2 late. I don't know. There's a lot of different things that are involved here, but the kicking game has cost the Packers every single time they've failed to win. The kicking game has been, like, objectively one of the big reasons. They have to get this sorted out, and it starts with having the right guy out there. I'm not convinced at all that the right guy is out there. You hope it doesn't affect you. in these games, but it clearly does. Like, this clearly impacted the outcome of the game. Brandon McManus missing the field goal in a game you lose by 3 points, you miss a field goal. It directly impacts the game. I know people want to talk about special teams. Matt LaFleur joked he doesn't talk to kickers. Well, you better start, buddy. You better learn kicker because you got to figure this out. All right, for those of you watching on YouTube, we're about to do an hour on our Locked On Packers squad show right here on the Locked On Packers YouTube feed. For everybody else, you can go find that in your podcast feed. We're back. It is a huge, enormous, ginormous game against the Philadelphia Eagles coming up, a prime time showdown, and I expect the Packers to play much better than what we saw on Sunday afternoon. Follow me on the socials, Peter_Bukowski on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the podcast. I'm on Blue Sky too. You can find me there too. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube so you can come hang out with us live. We're live for another 60 minutes on the Locked On Packers YouTube feed, so you can stay Locked On Packers.